What's up, YouTube? This is your buddy Choppadong coming at you with a quick video on a new twist. I want to show you a couple of things. I want to show you how to attack a gimmick that these websites, these fantasy sites are offering. I want to show you kind of the parameters by doing this. Now, I've looked at this for the very first time, but I saw a retweet out on Twitter about the new SUPERFLEX thing on Fanduel. So, of course, we bring our incredible Hulk boy in here to show you what a SUPERFLEX really looks like, because Fanduel, are they doing it right? Maybe, maybe not. Let's dive in and let's take a peek at what this SUPERFLEX looks like. When you go into the NFL tab and you select the SUPERFLEX slate, you can pick from, this slate of games here. What is it? I don't know, 10, 15 games, something like that. The Saturday and Monday, or Saturday and Sunday slate, Saturday through Monday, actually. They don't have a lot of games on it yet, but I'll tell you this, new things and new gimmicks attract fish. And this is where you want to be for your soft games. So the quicker you can dive in, dissect the advantage to building a decent lineup. You don't have to be a pro yet. You can learn that as you go. But if you use basic DFS construction fundamentals, you can get in there and have a gambling edge in a very short period of time. And let me show you how you're going to do that, or how that works. You go into, say, let's just pick a 50-50. You can see I've already entered one here, but let's just say we pick a 50-50 and we want to look at the roster construction. You've got a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and then the running back, wide receiver, and tight end, and then a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. This is your SUPERFLEX spot down here. No kicker, no defense, straight up double flex one of them. You can include the quarterback. Now, what do we know about consistent point production for value and the way these websites are skewed? Quarterbacks are that's why we pay down for quarterback in a lot of cases, because we need to get about 3x value, and we get 3x based on the way they're priced. These quarterbacks are priced down a little bit on FanDuel as opposed to DraftKings based on the way they score their points. So if I can get 3x for the same amount of money that I get 2 to 2.5x for out of like a running back, I'm going to take the quarterback who's going to get me the 3x. So this is automatically, in cash games, a 2-quarterback lineup. I don't know, unless you really nut 4 receivers, or I don't know how you're going to win your GPPs with this yet, but I'm telling you, from a cash conservative mindset, you want to lock in your points. Let's see how we can go about doing this in a little bit. There's a couple of ways that we can do this. The first thing is we go into DFS Army's NFL research station. If you know anything about me, you know that I am a coach and contributor inside DFSArmy.com. There's a link and a coupon code in the description of this video. I encourage you to follow it. I encourage you to implement the coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, get a 10% discount off of all of our coaching and the Slack forums and all of these tools that I might show you through time. We win on a daily basis, guys, and it's because we teach people how to build their own competitive lineups. We don't give you the lineup. I'm going to show you a little bit of the fundamentals on a first look at where I would go with this new slate. The other thing that I wanted to show you, and we can use the research station here a little bit, the other thing I wanted to show you is why. This one has 99 out of 100 people in it. Let me prove to you that the fish are in here. I go what I call star hunting or badge hunting, and I want to get into contests that have as low an experience level as possible, because that's going to give me an advantage as an experienced player. The way I do that is I open up what I clicked on there, the player number down there, and I start counting how many people have no badges or white stars. This no badge here, no badge, no badge, no badge, white star, white star. So I'm going to call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 people out of 20 on the very first page have no experience. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Good Lord, this is insane. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 34. So there's like, and I've only gone through 60, and I am over half inexperienced players. Now, take that out to a full roster slate into the same 50-50s, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so fewer, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9, losing track a little bit, 10, 11. So after the 3 pages, I had 34 in the SUPERFLEX. I've got 11. So would you rather be in a 100-man contest with 34 out of 60 people being inexperienced, or 11 out of 64 people? I don't want to fight the sharks, and I'm not saying all these guys are good, but I don't want to fight the guys that have read articles, that found the websites and know what the hell they're doing. Get me in the little minnow pond, please, because that's what's going to give me a higher win rate every time and twice on Sunday. So that's rule number 1. And so when you follow these new gimmicky slates, and there's no information written up about this roster construction yet. I'm just telling you to run 2 quarterbacks. There's nothing written up on it yet. So, you know, the fish are bound to make mistakes. They're going to get in there, they're going to pick 4 wide receivers, they're going to do all sorts of crazy stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do when I start diving in is I'm going to use my research station tool. I'm going to use my value parameters. I'm going to look for some valuable quarterbacks. Matt Ryan's showing a little bit of value. Alex Smith apparently. Tom Brady, of course. Jameis Winston. Scrolling down a little bit more. Nick Foles. Trevor Siemian supposedly. Blaine Gabbert. Jameis Winston. Now, if I wanted to run just straight value numbers, I could take my 2 quarterbacks there and there and pretty much be done with it. I can click over to the running back tab and do the same thing when this loads up, and I can see or I could pick by high projections, but I like value. 561. So Melvin Gordon apparently in a good spot according to ours. Mark Ingram. Jordan Howard. These are things we knew. If you followed our podcast we dropped last night, it's out on Twitter this morning. Go find my timeline at Chapodong. Go find my timeline out on Twitter, and you'll see it. 675, 732. Holy crap. If that makes any sense, I'm not running Doug Martin. I don't care what this thing says. So, I mean, I guess those are expensive, so it should really be going the other. Well, no, damn it, I haven't used this metric for a little while, but I know green is good, so why this is yellow, I guess it's costing you a lot of money per point. That's the deal. You want cheap money per point. So let's go back to the quarterback and start over again. I had it backwards. I was thinking points per $1,000 or whatever the hell I was thinking, where the number's supposed to be a little bit, or maybe it was the other way around. Yeah, points per dollar instead of dollars per point. So let's go cheap again, and let's figure out why some of these guys, it's because they're cheaper. So, you know, you've got your guys in good spot. Okay, so we were on the right track with them at least. So sorry for getting sidetracked. If we go back to here, now we're looking for the cheaper, darker green guys. Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, of course, Hyde, maybe, Kenyon Drake, Lamar Miller again for some reason, Gio Bernard again for some reason. These are guys that are hitting the projection sheets high for the amount of money they're bringing in. But that's one way you can go through here, get a good idea what you want to do, and start saving your money. So when we dive in over here, this is different. Usually I start off with the high guys on the slate. I already have a couple of QBs picked out. I like Russell Wilson this week. And honestly, for my flex spot, my super flex, I'd throw Nick Foles in there. Dirt cheap, $7,200. And, you know, when you compare him to, say, a receiver at $7,200, let's drop down and see who's in there. Larry Fitzgerald. Is Nick Foles going to get me 20 points or is Larry Fitzgerald? Okay, Larry can get me 20 points, right? But is Nick Foles going to get me 5 or 7? Very unlikely. Nick Foles is going to be a much more stable source of points for me. Is he ever going to get me 4.4 points? Probably not. So I would prefer in this second flex my quarterback. If I look at Golden Tate even, pretty steady guy. We think of him as a very steady, cash, safe type of wide receiver. 18. Has he gotten me 20 points yet? No. Has he gotten me 4? Yeah, 1, 2, 3 times. Nick Foles isn't going to do that to me. Nick Foles has a much higher floor. And honestly, Nick Foles has a ceiling of 20 to 25 points. He's a damn quarterback. That's why those quarterbacks go in that double flex in this type of format. This is the beauty of it. I'm not forced to put 2 QBs in there. So a lot of people will make that mistake and won't run that option out there. Now, if I dive into my running backs, I'm going to be watching average salary per player as usual. When I dive into my running backs, I'm probably going to take Le'Veon Bell because he's just the overwhelming chalk of the slate. Now I'm going to scroll down and probably find Kenyon Drake because I really like the spot he's in. That's going to boost me back up. So now for 1, 2, 3 type receiver types and then possibly another running back. So if I can save enough money, I can get in here and double my floor down with another running back. So for cash games, it's going to be very safe. Why is that? Let's start comparing by price, and let's start looking at the floor of, say, Keenan Allen at 8,000, 8,500. Got me some single-digit crap again, now didn't he? 5 points, 7 points, whatever. Now let's go look at Melvin Gordon. He's done a little bit of the same. He hasn't been super, but look, he's got a lot more of the double-digit games. There's only 1, 2, and a really, really bad game in here. Much more consistent body of work points-wise, and Melvin Gordon isn't even running well. If I wanted to go up a little bit more to Alvin Kamara, for crying out loud, outside of what he did, they're all going to have bad weeks. Quarterbacks won't do that, but running backs and receivers will. But look at this. Are you going to pick a running back in this run at 9,000, or are you going to take a receiver? You might take an Antonio Brown. Let's go back down here a little bit more. Travis Kelce and Todd Gurley are side by side. So which one's safer, Kelce or Gurley? Kelce got me a 5, got me a 5, got me a 0.6, but he also got me a, what, 1, 2, 3 games over a 20. So 3 games over a 20 and 3 really, really bad games. If I go down to Gurley, hope this works out. Law of large numbers tells me that I should have a more consistent body of work out of Gurley. Gurley's going to get me a bad game here and there, but he also got me 30-some-odd points, which Kelce can't reach. How many games over 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games versus 3. 5 games over 20 for Gurley versus 3 for Kelce. So who's the safer play? Who's got the better floor and who's hitting their ceiling more often? Gurley. That's why you would opt in this flex for a running back for your cash games. You might try and guess right and hit on a tight end or a wide receiver for your GPPs and whatnot, but generally speaking, you want to put a running back in that flex. So let's see if we can't buy down these wide receivers and get up. So the best place to buy down is at tight end. Yes, Kelce's great, but let's look for another guy in a good position who should be getting some targets and getting some work this week. And we don't have to go down, hopefully, too far. Kyle Rudolph was in an okay spot. Hunter Henry, okay spot. But these guys, 6,000. Let's see if we can get even lower. I'm looking for big favorites, high implied team totals, because that's where your tight ends usually do their scoring. So if I keep scrolling down here, Benjamin Watson facing Cleveland, is that usually a good matchup? Sure it is. How about if we go down a little bit further to Mercedes Lewis, 11-point favorite at home. Now, my question is going to be between Mercedes Lewis and Benjamin Watson. Let's throw Benjamin Watson in there facing Cleveland because that's a little bit safer pick. Now we're at 7,600 for 2 receivers and a running back. I don't need these guys up here. They're great plays. I don't need them. I want to get well under that 7,600 and see if I can't find somebody who's a little bit safer. There's a lot of targets. Robert Woods comes back. Maybe Marquise Goodwin. A lot of targets lately. Let's keep going down. Cooper Kupp. A lot of red zone work lately. Let's keep going down. Mohamed Sanu. Now look, I'm at 10,200 for my wide receiver flex spot. Who do you want? I mean, take your pick. You want Kamara? You want Brown? I mean, if you didn't have Bell in there already. I mean, at this point, you don't need these cheaper guys. Now what I could do, I could put Antonio Brown in there. Now I can come up with $9,000 and I can look to upgrade something. So now that I know I can get Antonio Brown, why not swap him out with, say, who would I like to swap him out? Let's say Sanu goes away and now I put Brown in his spot. Why? I want flexibility. Now I can get back to putting in another running back if I want to. 6,900, and I can go back to seeing who in that range is looking fairly strong. Mike Evans, Christian McCaffrey, Carlos Hyde. Would we rather have them over Mike Evans? I hope so. Jamison Crowder, probably rather have him over Jamison Crowder. If we look at Jamison Crowder's floor and ceiling, low, 5 points, 7 points, 4 points, 4 points, negative points, 6, 6, 6. Had a couple of good games in there. He's drawing some targets. That's good if you have to take that pick, but we don't have to take this. We could gamble for the 23-point ceiling, but that's the only thing he's got other than maybe 10 points. You're lucky to get 10, 11 points out of this guy right now. Why would you pay that price for that when I can get 10 or 11 points out of Carlos Hyde with relative ease? There's 10, 11, 10, 22. See, I've got the same ceiling. I've got 2 games of 22, and I've got, you know, a bad game of 2, but I've got a lot higher floor. I'm not getting into the 4 and 5 range. I'm getting into the 8 to 10 range. So I would rather take a Carlos Hyde in that spot. What about Christian McCaffrey? I know he's had a couple bad games lately, but is there anything in the 4 and 5 range? There's a couple in the 6, 7 range, but there's a lot more in the 10 to 13 range and a couple of pops up to 18 to 20. So whereas maybe Crowder has a little bit of a higher ceiling at 24 points than a Christian McCaffrey, he doesn't have the floor that McCaffrey has. So for that money, you're almost better off being put there. But if I'd rather play, say, Mohamed Sanu again for the cheap price and then compare and contrast with Marquise Goodwin at, well, now at the 1,000 points instead of 60 some odd hundred, I'm up to 7,500. That's going to buy me a lot better flex, is it not? 7,500 has me picking between Josh Gordon, Brandon Cooks, Devin Funchess, Jamal Williams, Devontae Adams, Larry Fitzgerald, Golden Tate. No running backs in this batch. Where do I got to get down to the running backs? I got to go all the way down to Devontae Freeman at 7,000, which, you know, if Tevin Coleman's out, that's a pretty damn good spot, is it not? Let's check his little numbers here. Make sure he's still getting some of the work. 24 touches. That was with Coleman out. If that's the case, you've got a really solid floor of 12 to 15 points. And you've probably got upside to 20-something. So I would rather take the 12 to 15 points over him. Now, I don't like having Sanu and Devonta Freeman in the same lineup, but it is what it is. The other thing that I could do, if I wanted to go down really, really low here, and say I wanted to go down to the tight end, this is a little bit more GPP risk, but if I wanted to drop down and really free up some money, let's say I went after, say I went after Jared Cook. He's playable this week. Now, let's upgrade Foles. 1,400. What good does that get me? I'm going to be looking for a quarterback in this 8,600 range. Melvin Gordon, you know, possibly. Not going to get me the 15 to 20 points as consistently as a quarterback will. Cam Newton, there's you some upside. Why wouldn't I stick Cam Newton in there? I mean, if my double quarterback is Cam Newton against the poorest Green Bay secondary, I mean, he's not a safe play per se. Nick Foles is probably a safer play and upgrade around him. But you can really mess with this. I would tell you, tip number 1, put 2 quarterbacks in there. Russell Wilson and Cam Newton. Man, it's pretty hard to go wrong. We look at what Cam's done, say, lately since he's been running the ball. I mean, he's right on that 15 to 20 range with upside to 35. You're not going to find that in a running back or a wide receiver with that kind of consistency. What sucks is the 13 and the 9 and whatever else. But you get my point. So if you ran this and you get a touchdown out of those 2 tight ends, man, you're sitting really pretty with this double high quarterback. Double high quarterback might be the way to go. Let's do this one more time really, really quick. Let's load up these quarterbacks and see what we could get. We like Russell Wilson. Phillip Rivers, not in a terrible spot. Cam Newton, Dak Prescott, Marcus Mariota, Alex Smith, very safe. Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, Case Keenum. Throw Keenum in there. Let's just for fun, okay? I'm not even high on Keenum this week, but let's throw Keenum in there. Let's stack Keenum with Thielen. Let's go back to the running back spot and grab Bell and grab Drake. Let's see what we can get in the flex. When we go down here to wide receiver, let's put Marquise Goodwin in there. At tight end, let's throw not Benjamin Watson in there. Yeah, let's throw Watson in there. Probably a little bit safer pick. And now I got 8,100 for that last flex spot. I'm picking between Michael Thomas, Leonard Fournette, Robbie Anderson, Jordan Howard. Good God. I mean, you want to take a chance on Jordan Howard, now would be the time. Leonard Fournette, huge smash spot at home. Is he getting the carries last week? Got to find out about the quadricep injury. Did not practice Wednesday. Play through a right ankle issue of late. See, that's just not good. But if you look at his game log, he's getting the touches. Getting the touches. He's in a great spot this week. Let's hope that's not so bad. That's a damn good lineup right there. Le'Veon Bell, Leonard Fournette, Kenyon Drake. In there with Russell Wilson, Case Keenum, stacked with Thielen, and then a little Benjamin Watson sitting in the and Marquise Goodwin. That's a pretty good lineup, guys. This is how you're going to run this slate. To hell with this. I'll run that one too. You know, and then we'll just go ahead and activate that lineup. That's pretty slick stuff. But that's basically how you're going to deal with this Superflex slate in a nutshell. I know we went 20 minutes, but hopefully you got a little bit of looking at the contest to find the soft competition, and then you got a little bit of roster construction theory with what to use in what spots, how to play it safe, and then, of course, if you want to take the risks, go crazy with whatever you want to do in some kind of a GPP. If we look really quick at the tournaments the Superflex is running, you know, it's running the same smattering of tournaments. You can beat a 1,200 person tournament, 5-entry max, you can beat that. You know, pay out $100, beating 1,200 people for $1. You can beat that. $2 single entry, and that one's going to pay out $200. I mean, you can beat these small tournaments. This is another thing for you to think about. You should be in tournaments like these on these newer slates because they're going to be a little bit smaller. They're more beatable. You don't have to take the crazy wackadoodle chances. Are you going to beat 300,000 people and win $1 million? No. But you don't need to do that, and honestly, you shouldn't be doing that with very much of your bankroll. If you want to talk a little more bankroll, a little bit more construction, consider DFSArmy.com. I'm your buddy Chapadong, and that's a Superflex slate breakdown for you. Hopefully you guys have a good week. Get in there and try that thing.